And we talked about this player last time you were on, right after the trade deadline, and it's Tobias Harris. So there was a report this week from, I want to say it was from Keith Pompey from the Philadelphia Inquirer.
Yep.
And he had said that executives believe around the league that the Pistons will sign Tobias Harris this summer. So I want to know, have your opinions changed since the last time I've had you on? Do you think this is a guy that the Pistons should try to go out and sign this summer?
If it involves having to sign him to a max deal, I would say no. I just don't. I mean, I believe Tobias is 33 years old. And look, is he better than anybody they could possibly put into that starting lineup right now in that role? Yes, he is. But do you really want to give a guy that is about to be on the wrong side of 30 at the end of his contract that big of a deal? That's like 17 points a game per guy. Do you want to give him a $185, $200 million deal to come here? Or do you want to go with your session, like you alluded to earlier, and make a couple of B- signings? I think that would be the smarter way to go. Make a couple of B- signings, try to get those guys to come here and some tradable assets to maybe make a splash at next year's trade deadline. And I don't mean grabbing a Joe Harris or Monty Morris actually could have worked out if he didn't get injured. So I don't want to say about that. I think that was just a storm that went bad. But yeah, I don't think that Tobias Harris is going to be the guy. And I know people like, well, we had Tobias Harris here before. They didn't trade Tobias Harris because he was bad. Tobias Harris had got traded because Tom Gores wanted a splash and Blake Griffin was a splash. That's why he was gone, because Tobias Harris was good here. He had some moments. He didn't do that good in the playoffs. He had a little bit disappearing act, but Tobias Harris played well here.
Yeah,
I think right now I wouldn't do it.
I think given this stage of his career, I think he's still valuable. I think he could offer leadership. But to your point, if it comes at a max deal, are you not really concerned with the money and you just want a grown-up in that locker room? And I think that's what the organization does have to ask themselves. They have to ask themselves, are we ready to win, or do we just want to sign vets to keep teaching these guys how to play basketball and how to make winning plays and stuff like that? But personally, just for me, I would probably pass. I'd rather go out and maybe target guys like a Malik Beasley, like a Malik Monk, maybe a look at Hartenstein from the Knicks, or even Nick Claxton to an extent, if you do want to upgrade that center position. I think there are some decent free agents out there where they make more sense and you can use your cap space wisely. I really hate for them to use a majority of their cap space. And like, let's say Tobias has injuries, because it seems like every time we trade for a player, they automatically just get injured. Like, to your point, the Monte Morris stuff was weird. It was 100% weird, man.
That was just because I believe that things might have been a lot different if Monte Morris did not get injured. I'm not saying they would have been played or anything like that, but I don't think they would have I don't think they would have lost that many games, because you would have already had a solid point guard backing up Cade Cunningham out and not going back to the Killian Hayes experiment that produced the same way as produced the past couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, someone said they had a whole under the hood about Monte Morris coming home. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
again, if you can get Tobias on a I'm not going to say if you can get Tobias on a friendly deal, you're going to have to pay him. But if he's not making the $40 million he made this year, if you can't give him that. You can't give him that and talk about improving this team. You're going to have to it's going to have to be a very cap friendly deal so you can still make some other moves. You can't give Tobias Harris a max deal and sell that you're serious about making it kind of run, because it's just not the move to make for me. I think there are more creative ways that they could probably come up to land some talent that maybe they may not get that big star. Because I'm not really that big of a fan of free agency this year, but they could probably make some smaller moves along the way that will just increase the overall performance. Grab a couple of savvy veteran guys on some friendly deals.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the Pistons, if they were to try to target him, I don't think they're going to get the market value. I know someone said he's projected to be 25 million a year. I think if you're the Pistons, you're probably paying 30, 35 a year, just given the state of the franchise or where you're at. You're going to have to overpay to lure people here. And
if you can get Tobias Harris at 20 to 25 million, you do that. Okay, yes, it's a deal that you definitely got to do. But again, like you said, that 35 to 40, which that's tough.
Yeah, like I said, the Pistons could just sit out of free agency and just make trades. Like we could be talking about them signing Tobias Harris and they go out and like trade for like, I don't know, Andrew Wiggins or something like that. You never really know, man. Like I think there are a lot of teams out there that are going to look to make trades because of the new CBA and they don't want to get into that first and second apron. I think there are options for this team, but if it's the free agency route they're taking, I'd much rather them go after like C plus, B minus players, spend that cap space wisely, fill out your bench, get some, mid to, high level role players to, bring to this team. Like I know I mentioned Malik Monk. I think both Malik Monk and Malik Beasley would improve your shooting immensely. I mean, I'm surprised more people aren't talking about Malik Beasley. I know he's kind of had the off the court issues, but he's had a hell of a season with the Milwaukee Bucks.
Hey, Malik Beasley has some Detroit ties as well. His mom is from 8 Mile.
Oh, okay. I did not know that.
I found that out when I actually shot Malik Beasley's. I shot his when I was for people that don't know, I am also a videographer and photographer. So I shot one of Malik Beasley's camps in Denver, and I was chopping up with his mom, and he's like, "Yeah, she's from the D."
Okay, so there are some ties there. That's interesting. Did not know that. I know when I had Pistons thoughts on this podcast, that was a guy that he wanted the Pistons to go after like 3-4 years ago. Like TJ Warren and Malik Beasley were his guys. I was like, man, that makes sense, man. That makes sense. 3-and-D wings, like you can probably get them for cheap too.
Yeah, definitely. Again, like you just said, bring some of those guys in, guys that maybe they're not max level players, but they're guys that can hoop. You don't want to blow the cap space on a guy that you're locked into on such a massive deal that you cannot move him, and you're going to have to end up buying out at some point.
Yeah, I just fear that they're gonna,
here.
Yeah, I just fear that they're gonna have to overpay. It'll be like the Ben Gordon and Charlie V stuff, where not the best free agent to target, but the top tier free agents like the Klay Thompsons, the Tobias Harrises, you offer them the bag to try to come here, which I think if I were the Pistons, I would try to stay away from Klay Thompson. Let Orlando give him the bag because apparently that's what they want to do. If I was the Pistons, I would stay away from guys like
Klay Thompson. Thompson right now is and this is all respect to Klay Thompson because he's a 4-time NBA champion, but Klay Thompson right now is a name. He's a name. I mean, he's on the wrong side of his age, those leg injuries, and I mean, he's shown glimpses of the old Klay Thompson, but the consistency wasn't there this season. And I don't think that, I mean, if you're talking about you're going to have to overpay Tobias Harris to come here, what the heck do you think you would have to pay Klay Thompson to come here?
Probably over 100 million. 100 million straight up.
And you can't do it. And you cannot do it. You can't do it. You would have to pay Klay Thompson something ridiculous to come here that would set the franchise back for years and years and years. So I mean, if you just had to choose between Tobias and Klay Thompson, you got to choose Tobias just based off of, everything I just said. But I would be out on both of them.
Yeah, I know we talked about it last time you were on, and that was Miles Bridges. I don't really think the organization. I'm just gonna say this. I'm gonna leave it just as a basketball conversation and not off the court conversation because I think that's irresponsible. I think as a basketball player, he fits, but what he did off the court, that kind of nixes it. That's all I'll say.
I still believe, like, with everything that the Pistons are going through, they are still going through as an organization off the court. If you don't know, do a little bit of Googling. You know what I'm alluding at. Mm-hmm. And you come off of that and you have to bring in a guy like Tobias, and in his off the court situations, I just don't think it's a good fit. Yes, he's a good player. Yes, shown flashes and growth in his game. I mean, he had a heck of a season. But what message are you sending by bringing him here? That's the big thing. Well, what are you saying it? But again, if they make that move, they've instantly improved. Mm-hmm. I mean, they've instantly improved. You cannot argue that. You bring in Miles Bridges, you are a better team than what you were the day before.
I'll just say this. I don't know if they would go out and get him, because if you guys go back and watch, if you guys have League Pass, why don't you go watch the games between the Charlotte Hornets and the Detroit Pistons and really focus in on Isaiah Stewart and Miles Bridges? I don't think they like each other, because every game I watched, they were getting in fights. Him and Jalen Duren. I mean, you watch. I don't know what was said. Obviously, basketball is a very competitive game. Yeah. But Miles Bridges went to Michigan State. We all know. But I think from a basketball perspective, a fit makes sense. But again, the off the court stuff, especially what the organization is still going through with a former assistant GM. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, but beggars can't be choosers either. So you never know what'll happen.
That's the other thing. Because I was saying, I think that, and this is me again. This is not me saying I have intel on this. So I want people to get this clear. I'm not saying I have intel on this. I'm just of the personal mindset that a large reason the Pistons probably did not even go entertain Udoka is because of the situation they're in. They needed to move far away from as much bad PR as possible.